All right, today we're going to be installing my new Viking shocks. So I've got everything kind of staged here. These are going to be shocks that I'm going to be installing. And here are springs, And so the first step is from the original shocks, of course, we have this spring perch here, and I've got to remove that. There we go. One. Go. Now, one perch removed. All right, I'm actually going to be prepping the inner shock tower area before I install the new shocks and springs, etc. All right, so I went ahead and ground a few inches around the inner shock tower, cleaned up all the area where the inner shock brace support is going to go back in place. I did get a new one actually, which is another reason why I'm cleaning it all up. It's a Global West tubular inner support brace, which is really cool. And as you can see, I'm just cleaning up the areas around where I'm addressing it currently. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually doing the top a little bit as well. I'm just going to, the inside of this shock tower looks pretty good, so I'm just going to paint right over that section. But the rest of this I'm going to neutralize and then paint it. And then when I take the fender off, I'll complete the whole inside of the car and the fender, etc. And on the outside, I'm cleaning up the shock mount area. And when I did that, I decided, oh, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take off these cross member braces. I have a Mike Meyer shock tower bar that it's obviously not in place right now. So these things are ugly, just sitting out there like that. So I'm taking it off. As you can see, I've drilled out the spot welds and now I'm peeling it back. I'm just trying to be as gentle as I can, not to deform the tower. So that's where we're at now. I'm just gonna clean up the top here a little bit more, and, spray it with some paint, and then we'll get it going. All right, I got the cross member bar off the car. Got it ground down. And I'm gonna come back with wire brush, clean it up a little bit more, give it a little bit of a sand, kind of fan it out. This is what it looks like in the final stage. Got it all wired brush, sanded, went a little over here. There's some, some rust bubbles or whatever. I'll smooth those out. All right, neutralize and paint. Driver's side is done. Got it painted. Came out pretty good. Again, I'm just going around the immediate area. But for now, looking pretty good. And we'll do rinse and repeat on the other side. All right, so before I put on the Viking shocks, I decided to do a cleanup. Took off the front end fender. The other fender's still on. We'll get to that one later on. Removed everything and ground everything down as best I could. Pretty much to bare metal. Not perfect by any means, but it's way better. And I'm gonna go ahead and get it neutralized and paint it up. And then once that's done, tomorrow we'll put the shocks on and see how they do. All right, so it's another day. I finished the driver's side in terms of cleaning it up, neutralizing, painting, etc. It created a hell of a mess getting all of that sealant, whatever the heck it is. It looks like shaving cream, just gooped in there. So I went ahead and tinted up on the other side because like I said, it just created a thick layer of dust everywhere, and that was a major pain. So already started on the other side, get that one done. And while that's drying and setting up over there, I'm gonna go ahead and then install the Viking shock on the driver's side. Okay, so I have installed the Viking coilovers. It's all kind of test fitting, test phase, nothing's permanent. It's looking pretty good. Just by putting in the coilovers and dropping it down, the car is on its own weight right now. And so it's 6 1/4 off the ground in the front. I haven't addressed the back yet, but this is just testing to kind of get an idea of where I'm at. But you can see there's a natural camber that came with it on each side. Alright. And of course, I think I already mentioned this, but I cleaned up the insides of these fenders here. Here are the installed Viking shocks. Now, I ended up having to compress the springs 1.25 inches. And the reason I did that is because I had very little clearance with the front torsion bar and the frame. So right now I've got about 3/4 inch. But the other problem is the sway bar, I got about 1/2 inch. And so that's not gonna work. So a couple things I can do is, one, if you notice, I actually mounted the shock underneath and not on top. And that was to give us potentially, theoretically, more flexibility in raising and lowering, and also getting some compression on the shock. So I can swap that out and test that out. But for the sway bar, we can look into possibly notching the frame, getting a shorter bolt, a link bolt for the sway bar, see if that would help. And then for the front torsion bar, you can see that it's mounted on top of the lower control arm. Relocating that with some collars and mount it from the bottom. That would give me tons of clearance for that bar. The sway bar is going to be the bigger issue. So that's kind of where we're at now. But that's kind of it. So as you can see, this side as well, cleaned everything up on the inside. But those coilovers are looking pretty beast. Okay, then next weekend, gonna be putting on the inner shock tower brace and see how that works with everything as well. And then we'll go from there and make adjustments as needed.